2 tiny habits done every evening could quietly turn that salary into a future you're actually excited to wake up for. A struggling man, Elihu, discovered these habits, and after that, his low salary does not matter. Watch till the end, because this story will show you better future does not only depend on a high salary, but on how you practice these 2 habits in your life. Before we move in, drop it in the comments. How do you use your salary to build a better future? Elihu's life was a knot that pulled tighter every sunrise. He was the castle wick trimmer in the kingdom of Arad, a man who cut lamp wicks and filled oil basins for copper coins that barely bought stale bread. His mother lay on a straw mat, coughing through the nights because he could not afford the healer's herb pouch. His sandals were tied with reed strings, and his tunic had been patched so many times it looked like a field of small graves. The world around him was loud with humiliation. The castle steward, Haran, would toss Elihu's wages onto the mud whenever he felt clever.
"Pick it up, wick rat. Maybe tonight you'll save enough to buy dignity," the other servants laughed. Elihu would crawl on his knees, gather the coins, and walk home burning inside. That burn became a silence he could not speak. The worst day came in summer. Esther, the baker's daughter, the only soul who ever smiled at him, stood by the well while a cloth merchant from the high market placed a silver bracelet on her wrist. Elihu watched from behind the olive cart. His fingers touched the 1 copper bit in his pouch and felt the full weight of being nobody. That night, he didn't trim wicks. He sat on the floor of his hut and let the darkness swallow him whole. His mother's cough echoed through the stones. The pot held no stew. The future was a wall with no door. The next evening, in the helpless hour when dusk turns the world gray, Elihu walked past the far end of the village where an old miser named Abdon lived. Everyone mocked Abdon. He wore the same cloak for 30 years, ate lentil paste without salt, and was seen every evening under a single candle, murmuring to a leather pouch as if the coins were his grandchildren. The villagers said he had rust in his heart instead of blood, but one thing was undeniable: Abdon never lacked. When famine pinched the village, Abdon's storage pot had grain. When taxes rose, he paid in quiet. He was stingy, yes, but he was also unbroken. Something pulled Elihu toward that flickering window that evening. He knocked. The old man opened the door without surprise. "You want to know why I talk to my pouch?" Abdon said, not as a question. Elihu swallowed. "I want to know how a man with nothing can stop being nothing." Abdon sat him down. He poured 2 cups of water, nothing more, and spoke slowly. "The kingdom thinks wealth is earned by getting more coins, but the man who chases more will always run behind his hunger. I found a different road. Every evening, after the day's spending is done, I sit and ask one question: what did I not spend today on foolish things? I count the saved coin, the extra bread I didn't buy, the shortcut I walked instead of hiring a cart, the new strap I did not replace, though the old one still holds. That is my real earning. Then I do something most people never do. I give that saved coin a job before the moon climbs high.
I buy a handful of salt and sell it where salt is scarce. I lend a small sum to a trustworthy fisherman and share his catch. I buy a hen and sell its eggs. I set a saving target from the waste I avoided, and I plant that coin like a seed. Elihu's face twisted with doubt. But I don't earn enough to save anything. My purse is dust.
Abdon leaned forward. You bought a stub candle this morning to trim wicks by the eastern tower, yes? You could have used daylight from the window, but you were in a hurry. That cost you 1 copper bit. If you had waited for the sun, that bit would still be yours. That's your first saved coin. Find enough small leaks, and by evening you will have a handful. Then make those bits work while you sleep. Do this every evening, and the man who had nothing will quietly build a mountain. Elihu left Abdon's hut with his mind buzzing like a disturbed hive. That night, he sat with the last light of his candle and replayed his day. The morning roll he usually buys from the baker he had skipped because he overslept. Saved 1 copper bit. The water carrier wanted 2 bits to bring a jar to the hut, but Elihu had carried it himself. Saved 2 bits. The strap of his sandal broke. He mended it with reed instead of buying a new one. Saved another bit. By the end of his counting, 4 copper bits lay on the floor. He had never thought of them as money earned. Now the second habit. He had to give these coins a job. He remembered that fishermen at the lake needed short wick pieces for their night lanterns. Elihu had access to discarded lamp wick trimmings at the castle. The stewards threw them away. He took a handful of trimmings, sorted and cleaned them by the stream, and bundled them into small lengths. Before dawn, he walked to the lake and sold every bundle to the fisherman for 5 copper bits. His 4 bits had become 5. The profit was tiny, but something woke up in his chest that had been dead for years. He did it again the next evening, and the next. The saved bits grew. He bought an old goat that gave milk, sold the milk, and used the savings to buy salt from the coast traders to sell in the high village. Every evening, the ritual anchored him. Count what you did not waste. Set a target to invest that saved sum, then sleep while the seed does its silent work. But the man who measures his savings before the stars come out, that man builds a house time cannot wear down. Then life tested him. Haran, the steward, announced a cut in wick trimmers' wages. Half the pay, same work. Many trimmers grumbled and stole lamp oil. Elihu felt the old panic rise. That evening he sat outside his hut, staring at his mother's thinning face, and almost surrendered. But he opened his pouch and did the count anyway. He had saved a little by not buying the cheese he craved, by reusing old twine, by fasting 1 meal. The saved coins were few, but they were his. He bought a clay jar of olive oil from a farmer whose cart broke down and who needed quick cash. Elihu sold the oil in smaller portions to the village families preparing for the harvest feast. The prophet filled his mother's medicine pot and left enough to buy proper sandals. The wage cut became a doorway because his evening habit had already built a floor under his feet. Soon the village noticed the change. Esther saw Elihu at the well, and this time he looked at her without lowering his eyes. She asked why he no longer walked like a man carrying a boulder. He smiled and said, "I found a lamp in the dark that nobody told me existed." He did not speak like a beggar. He spoke like someone who owned something inside.
That confidence, born from the small discipline of counting saved coins and making them work, was more magnetic than silver bracelets. She agreed to walk with him to the olive grove. The habit was now mending his heart. Months passed. Elihu's little trading grew into a reliable stream. He was still a wick trimmer, but his evenings had become a factory of future. He bought a donkey cart and started carrying pottery from the riverside village to the castle market. His mother's cough disappeared. The other trimmers began to ask him for advice, and without realizing it, Elihu had become a quiet leader among the workers. He showed a young trimmer how to save 1 bit a day by mending his own pouches, and the boy's family ate meat that winter. Leadership wasn't a title given by the steward, it was the habit of showing others how to spot invisible wealth. But the soul that plants its smallest coin in the soil of tomorrow, that soul will one day rest under branches it planted. Then came the fire. A careless kiln boy's spark burned down the storage shed where Elihu kept his pottery stock. All his invested goods turned to ash. He lost everything he had built outside his wick trimming purse. That evening, he sat on the blackened ground with empty hands, and the old whispers returned, "You will always be nothing." But deep in his bones, the two habits were now part of his breath. He walked home, lit a candle, and counted, "What did I not spend today?" He had not bought the mourning cloth his neighbors urged him to buy. He had not paid for help to sift the ashes because he sifted them himself. He found 3 copper bits saved. He set a target: buy beeswax from the Eastern Keeper, make holy day candles, and sell them before the next festival. The 3 bits became wax. The wax became candles. The candles became 10 times the copper. The fire did not defeat him because the habit had already forged a man who could rebuild from a single coin. Relationships deepened. Esther's father, once cold, saw that Elihu did not panic when disaster struck. A man who can rise after ashes is a man worth the bread on the table, the old baker said. Elihu and Esther married under the village oak. The feast was modest, but every dish came from coins that had once been saved bits. The habit had now built a family. Inner peace came unexpectedly. Elihu noticed one evening, while counting his saved sums, that he was smiling without reason. He was not rich by the king's measure, but he had stopped fighting the world. The fear of tomorrow had left because every evening he planted something for it. The habit became a sanctuary. The earner who counts what he kept, not what he spent, that earner walks through the market already wealthy before the first sale. One twilight, years later, the very old Abdon returned to the village. He was bent like a bent reed, eyes nearly blind. Elihu brought him to his new home, a stone house with a solid roof and a courtyard where a pair of goats slept. Elihu knelt beside the old man and thanked him. Abdon touched Elihu's hands, now rough from labor but steady. He whispered, "Tell me what you learned." Elihu answered, "I learned to harvest what others throw away. But more than that, I learned that every evening I can choose to see abundance instead of lack. The coin I did not spend is just as real as the coin I hold, and giving that coin work is an act of faith that tomorrow will come." Abdon smiled. "The habit I gave you was never really about money. It was about training your mind to find provision in the ordinary night. Now you are rich in a way the kings cannot touch." Then the old miser spoke his final lesson. a line that Elihu would carve over his door. The man who feeds his future before his stomach cries, that man eats from a garden the drought never finds. Elihu understood. The two evening habits, count the saved, invest the saved, had built an invisible vault in his soul. The purse followed the spirit. In his remaining years, Elihu taught the habits to every child in the village who would listen. He never charged a coin. He trained his own sons and daughters to sit at sunset and ask, "What did we not waste today, and where will we plant it?" The village of Beth Shem became known across Arad as a place of quiet prosperity. The king himself, hearing the tale, rode down from the castle not to summon Elihu to court, but to sit at his table and ask, "How can a kingdom practice such a small thing and become great?" Elihu answered, "Teach the lowest stable boy that his evening can be a door, not a dead end. A kingdom built on saved minutes and planted coins will outlast every army." The king left with the scroll of the habit, and Elihu remained a wick trimmer who had trimmed more than wicks. He had trimmed the excess from his days and lit a future that still shines in the story you are hearing now. So now the story turns to you. Right now, wherever you are, the day is almost over. You have spent something, time, attention, maybe money. But what did you not spend on something unnecessary? What small saved resource can you invest tonight in your own future? The habit does not need more wealth. It only needs an honest count and a willing act. Perhaps it's a skill, a 5-minute practice, a tiny sum you set aside. Plant it tonight. Tomorrow will already be richer.